Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this special County Council meeting for Thursday, April the 10th. Doug Kellum will officially call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note the starting time is 9 a.m. Joining us via Zoom is Councillor McDermott and Councillor Smith. Welcome, fellas. This time I'd like you to bow your heads for a moment of reflection. Thank you. We acknowledge that Perth County is situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe, who have a long-standing relationship with the land and water throughout the region. We honor and respect the history, language, and culture of the diverse Indigenous, Métis, and Inuit people who call this territory home. As a county, we have a responsibility for reconciliation and continued stewardship of the land on which we live and work. Does anyone have any peculiar interest to declare at this time? Seeing none, if it so does arise throughout the meeting, please oppose it at that time. Moving on to confirmation of the agenda. A motion that the April 10th, 2025 agenda be approved. Moved by Councillor Wilhelm, second by Councillor Duncan. All those in favor? And that is carried. There's no consent agenda, no public meetings, hearings, or delegations. So we will move right into closed session. And I do have a motion that reads as follows. That Perth County Council move into closed session at approximately 9:02 a.m. in accordance with Section 239 of the Municipal Act SO 2001 C25 as amended to consider a matter pertaining to negotiations, planning, and a matter pertaining to litigations, negotiations, the CAO. Moved by Councillor Kasenberg, second by Councillor McKenzie. All those in favor? And that is carried. Okay, we're now back in open session and moving on to our agenda. Item 9.1, staff reports, corporate services, and 2025 draft budget follow-up. Welcome, Corey.
Thank you, Warden Kellum and Council. So this report in front of you, Council began the budget process back in November of 2024. Through the months of November, December, Council received presentations related to the capital and operating budgets. Into 2025, Council provided questions to staff and staff provided answers to those questions. And to note, the requested levy does not include any external requests based on the current county's financial environment. And those items that were identified were one was from the United Way, another one was from Stratford Hospital Foundation, and the third item was related to a study to be done through the AGRA working group. Based on the March 6th council meeting, there was a motion that council directed to review the draft, staff to review the draft budget and report back to reduce the current tax rate percentage to 10%. Management and staff have reviewed the respective divisional budgets and noted areas where work plans could be adjusted to achieve these reductions without negatively impacting program and service delivery in the short-term or temporary basis. Management have indicated these cuts become an issue if they continue into future budget cycles. The attached Appendix A is the summary of potential reductions to achieve that direction. To note, there was an error in the Appendix A identified by one of the councillors within the paramedic services section. The total reduction should have been $102,500, but the spreadsheet essentially included the reduction in the salaries and the reduction in the IT technology services lines twice. And the line that relates to professional development should have been $6,000, not $102,500 within the appendix. The amounts in the appendix were correct related to the total levy impact of $285,858,000 within that. Again, The items to highlight as we go through this budget was some of the 2024 actuals. It was noted in the 2024 actuals that our municipal drain component, we had forecasted a over budget amount of $250,000. The actual amount to the end of 24 showed us approximately $750,000 in the budget. Compared to the amount that was within the 2024 approved budget. Also within that, the winter maintenance, we were forecasting at a $500,000 surplus in for 2024. 2024 actually came in on budget in relation to the weather events of December of 2024. Also to note, January and February 2025 actuals utilize about 62% of the total estimated 2025 winter maintenance budget. To note as well is that is the amount that we would normally see from a January to April component. And we're looking to be approximately about 20% over budget for 2025. The last item was within social services. We received a late bill from the city of Stratford related to 2023 reconciliation of social services, and it amounted to about $217,000. Again, Stratford has identified that they're continuously dealing with large turnover, and they've communicated to us that we'll receive 24's reconciliation on a timely basis by the end of May of 2025. Should council reduce that percentage of 11.29 to 10%, the average 2025 county tax increase would be approximately $91.13 per median typical home. This is a reduction of approximately $12, just over $12 from the originally presented, without expenses related to the giant hogweed, and that was calculated just over $100 at $103.32. It is the recommendation of the treasurer that these cuts be retained and allocated to the Capital Roads Reserve in the amounts of about $301,668, which would retain the tax rate increase at the previous indicated of 11.34, or as identified, the indicated impact assessed value in 2016 of $282,000 of just over $100 or $103.32. I will end it there and allow council for any comments or questions.
Thank you, Corey. Okay, let's open it up. Councilor Orr.
I would just, going back to the United Way, that was a slightly different request because it's really just a loan request. I personally think that we could do that. I'm not sure where, I have to take advice from you, but I would like to consider that for starting point.
Okay.
Through the warden to Councillor Orr's question, that was an interest-free loan. The cost to the county would be related to the lost cost within the reserve of the $300,000 that they're looking for.
Okay. Anyone else? Councilor Agus.
Our dollar impact on levy. So I understand why paramedics is, and I guess it would be archives is lowered because we have partners who pay there. Why is the CAO, legislative services, IT, and HR, why is their dollar impact lower and not at the amount that the dollar impact is in the column before that?
Through the warden to Councillor Eggett's question, with the divisions that relate to overhead, so divisions of the CAO, finance, IT, legislative services, and human resources, they're distributed to the other services. And through that distribution, the other services, so when it then therefore goes into, say, paramedic services, the other partners receive a savings to the reduction in a overhead division. Same with, for example, reduction in CAO, some of the benefit would be within archives, and then therefore Stratford would receive their 44% of that savings through that. So what is identified is approximately about 55 to 58% of the dollar value is a savings within the Perth County levy. The other partners receive those savings as well through overhead.
I guess my other comment is, why is our budget process so convoluted and hard? Like, to me, $1 is $1. And, you know, I've been around this table 24 years. This is the first year that it has been so, I don't even want to know what I want to say publicly. I can't figure this out, why we have to do it this way. If we're taking $1 out, to me, it's $1. You know, this muddying the waters and switching things around just makes this process that much harder. We've been at this for 6 months. This is ridiculous, what we're doing. So, I don't know. And why was there not something from every department? Some departments seem to have got hit really hard, and there's some departments that aren't here at all. To me, we're all in this together. Everybody needs to give something up. There's nothing in here from legislated, or from the prosecutors or that part of it. There's nothing in here from facilities. There's nothing in here from public works. I'd like to see everybody give up a little bit of something, not just certain departments. Like, we've hit, to me, economic development pretty darn hard. They're the ones that are trying to get the businesses to come here. We don't have the businesses. We don't have any economic development in our communities, or the housing, or the people that want to come. IT, it got hit kind of hard too. Like, it makes no sense to me. If you don't want to, council doesn't want to bring it down to 10%, then leave the budget alone. But I'm not comfortable that we're taking money from some department, switching it to another department. That's not what council asked for. Excuse me, council asked for it to be lowered to 10%. We didn't ask for another motion, excuse me, to come forward that we're going to shift money somewhere else. I'm very disappointed that that's what came forward.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Councillor Kaysenberg?
Can I just be clear? I'm a little bit concerned about the wording and my own interpretation of it. So the final recommendation of the treasurer in this report is the cuts are retained. So let me see if I understand. We have this list in Appendix A, and it's got a whole bunch of cuts that have been suggested as possible ways to get to a 10% levy change. You're proposing that we we implement these cuts, is that right? And then the value of it, though, is being moved into the capital reserve. Have I got the sort of workflow there? So we're going to, and let me just see if I'm right, we're going to create some hardship within the organization and make some sacrifices. And I'll rail for a minute about sacrifices around professional development, but let me get there. And yet, at the end of the day, we're not actually getting to the 10% number because we're moving money to other places. Let me, as I said, comment about the professional development cuts, for example, that are in this budget. We are in a time of great turbulence. And for us to suggest that we should be cutting our professional development budgets, which could affect staff performance and staff abilities to be more efficient in their work, is rather horrifying to me. I know it's low-hanging fruit on any tree, and corporations do it all the time. They cheat training. And perhaps I'm particularly sensitive to this because I work in the training environment professionally. But for me, this is a mistake. We need our staff to be better equipped and better skilled with, of course, the modern technologies that are emerging rapidly. And so for us to go after professional development budgets across the organization just feels like a woeful mistake, actually. And I want to flag that. You know, I mean, part of me says, yay, we can cut back on photocopying. But really, like, is that how we save money? Is just saying, don't make as many paper copies of things? I think people already use good judgment on that score. And so I do have a range of concerns about the kinds of cuts that are proposed in Appendix A. And yet ironically, we're saying that we're going or we're hearing the recommendation that we're going to make those cuts, and we're still not going to hit the magic number that council had established by resolution recently. So I'm a bit perplexed about where we're sitting here. I don't think I share exactly the same concerns as Councillor Eggetts, but I am concerned about some of these cuts and what they'll do within the organization that will actually put us back, moving backwards in some ways against our objectives in the strategic plan that we have for the county. So, I am concerned.
Through you, Warden Kellum, thank you. I would concur with Councillor Kasenberg's comments. I had looked at Appendix A, forwarded my questions to staff for more details, and including asking what are the consequences, implications, and risks. And through the answers that I got back in my own analysis, my conclusion is similar to Councillor Kasenberg, where we would be going backwards, not forwards, in a time where we need to hold fast and strengthen our ability to provide the staff the tools that they need to serve the public correctly and properly in a manner that not only fulfills our strategic plan objectives, but more importantly, supports our communities at a time when they need it the most. So that's my summary so far. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, through the warden. So just in terms of the staff list, the list from each of the departments, the directors and the managers themselves were asked to go through their budget to see, in order for us to come back to council to give you a list as per your direction, to see what could come with the least impact. It doesn't mean that it's no impact. The managers have put forward some offerings here. This is not what, if we thought we could do without the descriptions that you have on this page in front of you, it would have been presented in the original budget. But it wasn't. We felt we needed these things. I think what this shows is that we run a very lean operation, that there is very little to cut. We talked previously about there is very little discretionary areas in the county's operation, and $1 is not $1 at the county. It's $1 if you're in the ECDEV department, if you're in the CEMC department, but other than that, it's pretty much overhead or with other partner arrangements. So in terms of meeting the direction to say what would it take to get to 10%, this is what it would take to get to 10%, in line with the recommendations from your managers. The idea of we can go to 10% and we can meet that direction for council to reduce that cost on the levy, or as an alternative, the treasurer is saying if you're going to reduce it by that, then you need to be aware that next year we will have a larger budget, particularly as it relates to the drainage risk and I think the winter maintenance piece. So that in turn is an alternative to use that funding for if you decide not to take that on the levy. Our original recommendation to you is to approve the 11.2 something percent that we could use to continue our operations as is.
Go ahead.
Through the warden, just to add to Wolf's items is the items within that list are indicated by management to be mild in nature on the effect on their operations. Again, to be deferred, but to be returned again in 2026 for the purpose of moving the organization forward. What we have provided to council now is that there are some major components of within public works that are impacting the operation a little more significantly than the mild changes that were identified within the Appendix A. again, as CIO Wolf indicated, the impact of municipal drains, the impact of winter maintenance. We haven't seen a winter like this since I think I was born in 1977. Those components are where we resided when we talk about 2025 operations. And the recommendation to hold that money in the capital road reserve to be able to be utilized by council to deal with the impacts of where 25 might reside at the end of the year. I think it's prudent on council to consider that.
So pay me now or pay me later? More or less? Right? Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. Does that answer your question, Councilor Casey, then? Without that?
I mean, I will continue to assert that I think CAO Wolf's first comment was rather insightful. You know, these are things that are gonna create some pain in the organization. And you know, it's really easy to go after training budgets and professional development budgets. That's the easiest thing. And employers around the world are doing that over and over again as soon as money begins to look tight, right? But I'm not sure that you know, you used the word mild, Corey. I'm not sure that some of that is mild. I think that we're in these times that warrant a little more insight, a little more vision towards where we're going. And so, you know, I appreciate the Deputy Warden's comments and his analysis backing up largely how I'm feeling about this. I'm not sure that these are worth doing. I don't think so.
Anyone else? Councilor Higgins?
I think moving forward, we're gonna have to make some really tough decisions, whether we want to or not, because the way the economic times are going, the tariffs and everything else, we can't just keep adding more dollars to the taxpayers. You're gonna find out there's gonna be people that are gonna have to walk away from their homes and their farms. And it's too easy. It's just too easy. And I'm not sure, as a business owner, we're constantly figuring out different ways to make things work and make things ends meet. And here it's too easy just to keep adding it to the taxpayer. So I agree with Councillor Kiesenberg. If you don't want to if you want to do something and leave it at 11%, then I want to get rid of this. I agree that we should not be burdening some of these departments. You know, we'll face the music next year as it goes along. If there's something that we have to put money into somewhere, then something's got to come from somewhere. We have an awful lot of money in reserves. Do we really need that much money in reserves? Maybe we should start using some of it, because I hate keep taking from the taxpayer and yet we're squirreling it away somewhere else.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Duncan?
Thanks. I'm gonna look at the numbers here and $12, my budget's as tight at home as everybody else's. And as a business owner, I agree with Rhonda. There's always places I can try and find to save some money. But $12, that's $1 a month. I don't foresee it being good stewardship to take this money out of the budget and cause hardship to these departments over $1 a month. So I'm of the opinion we just move forward with the original levy. My question though would be to Corey, is there money in the levy stabilization fund that we could use to temper this some?
Through the warden to Councillor Duncan's question, this budget includes utilization of about $400,000 of the levy stabilization reserve already. The balance at the beginning of this year is $600,000. That would leave us $200,000. But my recommendation is that $200,000 be utilized to cover the social service invoice that we just received from 2023. That'll leave us with $30,000 in that levy stabilization reserve.
So that pretty well drains that fund, reserve fund at this point. Okay, thank you.
Councilor Duncan? Anyone else? So I should get a consensus here and the feeling towards putting the 301,688 into roads reserve. Is that what people do not want?
Sorry, Warden Kellum, not at the cost of the sacrifice of these cuts.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, so I'm going to read this resolution and we'll see where it goes.
That's just working.
First one is the council receives a 2025 draft budget follow-up report. Moved by Councilor Orr, second by Deputy Warden Trentowski. All those in favor? That is carried. Then the council approves the 2025 budget in principle with a tax rate increase of 11.34%, which represents a total levy request of $25,108,751, or an increase of $2.914,397. Moved by Councillor Smith, second by.
Can I just check on, if I might, as a point of information, I just want to make sure that resolution, is it speaking to approving a budget with these cuts in, or is it speaking to approving a budget that we previously saw that does not include these changes? All right, thank you.
Option 2, yes.
Can I clarify the United Way? Should I have made that motion ahead of time?
It does not include it.
That's not it?
No, does not include, but through the warden, I would say that a motion from Councillor Orr indicating that interest-free loan of $300,000 be provided to the United Way and see as a separate motion from this. It won't have an impact on the levy.
I'm going to discuss that. So we do have a mover. We have a seconder. Moved by Deputy Warden Trentowski. All those in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff. Thank you, colleagues. Everyone is happy, but this was very difficult. You know, the years I've been in county council, it's a lot of discussion. We are going through some unprecedented times. Needed to get this done, and I think everyone has done their best in their ability to do it. So thank you very much.
Should I make a motion about the United Way right now? Okay.
Need to declare.
Yes, you do. I was going to say that. Yeah. For the record, please note that Councillor Kaysenberg has declared conflict of interest.
So I would like to recommend that we do interest-free loan to the United Way for the housing project, and can we make sure that it is done in listable? Is that part of the project? Can I designate it to listable?
I believe it was.
I believe it was.
I don't.
You directly do. So
You can make that part of your motion.
Correct.
Thank you. I would like to make that part of my motion. I'd like to see
I
us.
will put it up here and we'll just give them a moment and we'll read it.
So through the warden, that council directs staff to prepare an interest-free loan in the amount of $300,000 to United Way for housing in Listowel. The housing project in Listowel, correct? Sorry.
Yes.
So moved by Councillor Orr. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Eggetts. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Councillor Orr. Okay, moving on to our agenda. Any council reports there? Councilor Lake? Seeing none, there's no bylaws. Any notice of motions the councilor would like to give this time? Seeing none, any other business? Are there any announcements that would better Perth County? Someone would like to make it this time? Seeing none, I do have the confirmatory bylaw. Bylaw number 4, whoops, and please note that Councilor Kaysenberg has declared a conflict. Bylaw number 4023-2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council of the corporation of the county of Perth at its special meeting held April 10th, 2025. It's read a first, second, and third time, finally passed April 10th, 2025. Moved by Councillor Smith. Second by Councillor McDermott. All those in favor? And that is carried. Sir, Casey, we're back in. Finally, the special council meeting adjourned at approximately 10:37 a.m. Moved by Councillor Kasenberg, second by Wilhelm. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, everyone.